The moment a 7-year-old girl left a billionaire speechless. Picture this year one of the most powerful people in America, sitting in a boardroom worth millions, when suddenly a little girl walks in and destroys your entire world with just 4 words. What happened next will leave you questioning everything you think you know about success, family, and what really matters in life. William Anderson had it all, or so he thought. At 52, this tech mogul had built a billion-dollar empire. From absolutely nothing, fancy penthouse in Manhattan. Check beautiful wife. Check respect from every corner of the business world. Double check. He was living the American dream, the kind of success story that gets written about in magazines. But dreams have a funny way of turning into nightmares when the past comes knocking. It was just another Tuesday in Anderson's gleaming boardroom, 20 executives hanging on his every word as he announced their latest mega deal, the kind of acquisition that would cement their company as the undisputed king of medical technology. The applause was thunderous. The champagne was flowing. Everything was perfect. Then the door opened. Security cameras would later show how it happened, an elderly woman creating a distraction downstairs, while a small figure slipped past reception and into the elevator. But in that moment, all William saw was a 7-year-old girl standing in his boardroom doorway, wearing a faded blue dress and scuffed shoes, her dark eyes scanning the room until they locked onto his face. The silence was deafening. "You can't be in here," his assistant said, moving toward the child. But this little girl wasn't backing down. She walked straight toward the most powerful man in the room, clutching a worn backpack against her chest. "My name is Ella Johnson," she announced, her voice small but unwavering. "My mom's name was Rachel Johnson." William felt the blood drain from his face. That name, Rachel Johnson, hit him like a freight train carrying 8 years of buried memories. "She died 3 months ago," Ella continued, her voice steady despite the grief in her eyes. "Before she died, she told me about you. She said you're my father." 20 pairs of eyes shifted from the determined child to their now visibly shaken CEO. The most powerful boardroom in Manhattan had been silenced by a little girl with 4 devastating words: "You're my father." But here's where the story gets even more incredible. Ella reached into her backpack and pulled out a photograph. William and Rachel together, years before his first million, before the fame, before the carefully constructed public image. "Kept this picture of you two," Ella explained, "and she wrote you letters. Lots of them." The mention of letters made William's stomach drop, because deep down, he knew exactly what letters she was talking about. Security was already moving toward her, but something about this child's eyes that looked hauntingly familiar, made William raise his hand to stop them. "How did you get in here?" he whispered. "Dorothy helped me. She was Mom's friend from the cancer support group. She's waiting downstairs." Ella stepped closer, completely unafraid of this billionaire who intimidated world leaders. "Mom said you wouldn't want to see me, but she made me promise to find you before." Her voice finally cracked. "Before they take me away." "Take you away?" one of the executives asked. "The lady from Child Services came yesterday. Since my aunt moved to Florida and can't take me, and Dorothy's too old, I have to go to foster care on Monday. Mom said you were my last chance." Can you imagine? Here's a man who could buy and sell companies with a phone call, and he's being confronted by his biggest failure, not in business, but as a human being. A daughter he never knew existed was about to disappear into the foster system, while he lived in luxury just miles away. The photograph in Ella's tiny hands told the whole story. Even from across the room, William could see Rachel's smile, the same smile that had captivated him 8 years earlier. Before his first million, before he became the man who could ignore a child's existence, "Everyone out," he finally ordered, his voice barely steady. Now, as the boardroom emptied, William found himself alone with the daughter he'd never known he had, or perhaps, the daughter he'd chosen to forget, because the truth was starting to surface, and it was uglier than any corporate scandal. Rachel had written him letters for years. His assistant had filed them away, unread, dismissed as correspondence from someone who couldn't move on. Inside those letters were ultrasound photos, birthday pictures, first steps, first words, an entire childhood documented and sent to a father who never bothered to look. But this wasn't just a story about a deadbeat dad getting his comeuppance. This was about a little girl who'd just lost everything: her mother, her home, her entire world, and had mustered the courage to find the one person who might save her from a life in the system. The real shock wasn't that William had a secret daughter. It was what happened next, when this billionaire had to choose between protecting his perfect image and stepping up for the child who needed him most. Sometimes life gives you a second chance wrapped in the most unexpected package. For William Anderson, that package came in the form of a brave 7-year-old girl who refused to let him hide from the truth any longer. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible tales of ordinary people doing extraordinary things, because sometimes the most powerful person in the room is the smallest one with the biggest heart.